Hello, my name is William Dold, and I'm going to be talking about expectancy violation theory. In the book Theories of Communication, Littlejohn and Foss state that the expectancy violation theory predicts how people react with their expectations about an interaction are somehow violated. Uh, this theory was developed by Judy K. Bargoon and several others to predict and explain the impact of unexpected communication behavior. This theory can come into play through knowledge of an individual, idiosyncratic, or social. With this explaining, there can be an expectation of individual based on social norms and beliefs. For instance, socially speaking, a large bald headed individual with tattoos and leather might be considered scary. A violation would be a kind hearted biker who's raising money for children's charities. In the idiosyncratic level, an interaction with the individual might violate expectation based on personal knowledge of them. For example, if an individual is going to see their boss, a known hard nose in relation to policy, they may feel as if they're in trouble. A violation of this expectation would be the boss providing a raise for the employee. When looking at this theory, we look at in social media, where social media comes into play. There was some studies done concerning people being unfriended on Facebook that caused the EVT to be a negative violation. The research was composed of 500 individuals who were unfriended, and the reaction to this, the study found that the unfriending was a component of EVT in action. People feel as though they were betrayed and let down. They found that the individuals who were unfriended felt that the expectation of friendship was violated by being released from that friendship. Likewise, they did some research with this concerning cell phones and romantic relationships. The study was asking people who were involved in romantic relationships how they felt if their significant other used a cell phone during or social media while on a date. Surprisingly, the study showed the length of time individuals dated had little to no bearing at all on the result. The study showed that if there had been rules put in place and the rules were violated concerning the cell phone or the social media, that's where the violation came in. In a more serious romantic relationship, such as a marriage, they've also done some study. Wright and Roloff performed a study to see how mind reading in these relationships can lead to the expectation violation. They believe that the expectancy violation often occurs when relational partners have done something harmful and realize they have not done so. If you take a look at a married couple who the wife always asks the husband to take out the garbage, she always asks him to clean up his mess, and he doesn't do it. She takes that as him being disrespectful to her, and that he should know what she's thinking. In the flip side, he may just be absent-minded and forgot to do what she asked him to do. There was also research done using the male stigma and expectation. The study consisted of individuals that claimed to be both heterosexual or homosexual male, and the way they used their speech. The determination was how much funding for the individual for school. The study used students, and the students would speak to the potential other students on the telephone. And when they found that the individuals who called themselves homosexual and used homosexual speech, then they were more likely to get more funding than those who violated that by calling themselves homosexual and using heterosexual speech, or vice versa. It was interesting because the expectation was that the men would speak based on their sexual preference, and those that spoke differently was where the violation came into play. Another example would be with the cultural, um, a new culture, a core culture, a host culture, maybe expecting someone to come to be part of their culture. They have expectancy of that individual based on where the person's from. For example, if you take a person from the Middle East and you say that they're coming to an American group, um, they may have the group may have some stigmas attached to the person from the Middle East. Excuse me. Whereas if the person comes in, um, the if the individual does not fall into line with those stigmas, is where the EVT comes into place. The expectation that the cultural stigma is in place when in reality there's no stigma because the individual acts in the norm of the host culture. This theory tries to determine the reaction or the reasoning behind the reaction of an expectation violation. Um, Many times people have expectations of others and the way that they're going to be communicating based on knowledge of the person, uh, knowledge of the individual's accomplishments, uh, their status, things of that nature. And when the violation comes into play, that's when the individual um, doesn't fall into line with those norms. Some of the concepts: um, nonverbal behavior, enacted behavior, heightened arousal, reward violence, interpretation, evolution, reciprocity, credibility, attitude change, and context. These are all some of the concepts from Littlejohn and Foss when talking about this, the uh, the violation. Um, the expectancy violation comes up subconscious at time. In today's age technology, there are things that happen on an everyday basis that cause a theory to come forward that have not been done before based on advancements. Um, the research that I've done has shown that in the last 25 years, it has changed drastically based on the advancements in technology.